Can I taste your juice?
Hey folks, P. Basardo. Tonight we're going to take a look at the iTaste MVP. This is the version 2.0. This is going to jump the line a little bit based on the outpouring of emails that I got to take a look at this. You guys remember you can vote in the review queue on tasteyourjuice.com. It did jump up to the top, so we are going to take a look at this. Just let me finish my iTaste MVP version 2.0 workout here, and we will get right to it. All right, so I think we're ready to go here. Now, there's going to be a contest at the end of this video. I took a look at the iTaste version 1, and then I put some pictures up of the version 1.5. That's what I'm calling it anyway. The version 1 did not have ego cone threading on it. The version 1.5 did have ego cone threading on it. Now we are at the version 2.0. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about this. Maybe not go into as much detail as I did with the version 1 and the 1.5. Okay, if you want to see the version 1 video, you can click that link right there, and it'll take you and tell you all about the version 1. But now we are on the version 2.0. Okay, what this does is it adds a couple of features to the original MVP. Number one, the biggest difference is it's going to add variable wattage. That's number one. Number two, it's going to add a resistance checker meter, ohm meter to it. So you will be able to check the resistance of your attached device. Now, when I reviewed the version 1, I said something at the end of it. I said I would do something if they added a resistance meter, if they added an ohm meter to the iTaste, and not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because of an issue with this one. Okay, it's not a huge issue. For me, it is. Okay, it may not be for you. For some of you, it's going to make the device damn near unusable. Okay, so let's get into it with the unboxing first. So here we have the box that the iTaste MVP comes in. Very similar packaging to the original MVP. Okay, so you have this clamshell look. It's very very iPhone looking. Okay, so we got this piece of plastic here. You have the device itself right there. Same piece of metal that was on the original one. That's this surrounding piece here. Underneath, we have a rather well-written user manual. There's also a little guide here for the included eye clear. Okay, we have a beauty or a transition ring right there. We have a charge cable. This cable is going to allow you to charge the MVP as well as charge other devices off of the MVP. And then we do have an eye clear 30 included in this kit as well. Now this is going to come in a couple different colors for you. Obviously the black, there's also a silver available and a very, very lightish blue color, okay? Price. Estimated street value or estimated street price on this is going to be about $70, okay? These came to me directly from Inokין, so it's not like I can quote a vendor's price. I did a quick search. I haven't seen them listed anywhere yet. I'm sure they're probably out there by now, okay? But that's the estimated street price, which is right around $70 for this. Okay, so since we talked last, which is just a few seconds ago, I have put my Ithaca or Ithaca on the iTaste MVP. Kind of an odd combination, but it works, along with the transition ring. I'm going to go ahead and have a vape for you. I'm going to vape now. I have vaped. So first, let's go from top to bottom, and we'll talk about some of the differences between the 2.0 and the 1.0 or 1.5, okay? And we'll take a look at some of the physical differences between the two devices. All right, so I've got the new version in my left hand, and I have the old version in my right hand. First thing you're going to notice is that they are exactly the same size, the exact same width. They're pretty much the same weight as well. They're both using the 2600 milliamp hour battery. That battery is part of the device. It cannot be changed or replaced, okay? Top, okay, first, you have on the old version, you kind of have a chromed look, okay, so you got a very shiny look. On the new version, you have more of a satin look, okay? The connector is almost identical, but the base of the connector is a little bit wider on the new version as opposed to the old version. And I think that has something to do with the beauty ring, okay, or the transition ring. Because if you look at the old transition ring, it has kind of this wide base on the bottom, okay, and then a little bit of a flange on the top. The new version has no base on the bottom, no flange on the bottom, same kind of flange on the top, same number of air holes as well, and the air holes are in the same place. But what that does is when we screw this on, because this was a little bit of a pet peeve in my original review, with the old iTaste MVP, you had that little bit of a hang, right? You get that little bit of hang off there. With the new version of the MVP, you do not have that. So this ring is flush with the device. So there's an improvement. All right, now working down to the button on these. The button on the original one is pretty much flush mount. I mean, you kind of have to, you know, move your thumb around there a little bit and figure out where the button is and then go ahead and press it. With the new version of the MVP, the surround and the button are both jutting out just a little bit. It makes finding that button 10 times easier, okay? So I definitely like that. However, there is something about this button that is going to prevent me from liking it at all, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Of course, the button on the original one is black. The button on the new one is silver. Okay, then we got the control panels on the side here. They both have two buttons and the screen. They both have the mirrored screen. The old iTaste is a red LED. The new iTaste is a blue LED. The bottoms, the ports are identical. The layout is identical, but again, we have the satin look of the new version versus the chromed look of the old version. The finish on the body is a little bit different as well. On the old version, you have kind of a satiny finish on it. On the new version, it's got this brushed look to it. I think it's a really handsome looking device, and I think that look on it is handsome as well. Now, like I said, the new MVP is going to give you variable voltage, variable wattage, and a resistance checker, as well as a battery charge indicator. Now, your battery charge indicator is going to show up as the color on the fire button, be it green, fully charged, yellow, halfway charged, red, time to charge it, okay? Eventually, you're going to push the button, the light is just going to flash red, and you're not going to be able to fire it anymore. Now, in addition to that, you can also see a more accurate reading of your battery charge status by using the control panel over here, and we might as well get into that right now. Okay, so here is our fire button on the top, and if we click that 3 times, 1, 2, 3, we do get that little bit of a light show there, and the device will not fire. 3 more clicks, 1, 2, 3, a much better light show, and now the device will fire. Now we go down here to the menu. We've got a power button and a voltage button, although it really does look like a U button. So if we hold the power button, if we just click it and let it go, we wind up getting the puff counter. And I think we know that Inokин really is excited about that puff counter. I still contend that it's a tool to allow you to maybe back off on your vaping a little bit, but I wish it didn't get in the way, okay? Now if we push and hold the power button, we'll see the power reading, okay? So we are now, if we push and hold that, we are in variable wattage mode. If we push and hold the V button here, push and hold, we go to voltage. Okay, now we're in the voltage mode. So let's go to the voltage mode and see how we can adjust this. Okay, once we're there, we don't use the P button. The P button will just switch us back to power. Okay, we just kind of stay in the voltage and we just go up by 1 point or by 0.1 increments. So obviously it does round robin because there's no way to adjust this down, only up. And we go from 3.3 volts up to 5 volts, and then we round robin back down to 3.3 volts again. Power is similar. This goes in 0.5 watt increments, okay, and it starts, it actually goes up to 11, and then will round robin back down to 6. So let's go ahead and put that back in there. Okay, so from 6 watts up to 11 watts, and when we do get to 10.5, we do lose the P. There's the 11, and then back down to 6 watts. Now, of course, with the MVP 2.0, we do have a resistance checker in here. So if we click both of these, we'll see that A, which is actually an R, and the resistance of the attached device, so 1.7 ohms in this case. And then you see V4.1, and that's the voltage of the battery. So that's the battery charge voltage. So in addition to the visual indicator that you have here, green to yellow to red, we can also get a better reading of the battery voltage remaining, which is 4.1 volts, in this case, fully charged. Now down here on the bottom of the device, again, pretty much identical to the original MVP, only now we have that satin look. We have an output on and off here, we have an input, and then we have an output. So if you want to charge the device, you can go ahead and use the included universal adapter, plug it into the mini USB port, and go ahead and plug the other side into some kind of USB power source, and you will charge the MVP. However, if you want to charge something off of the MVP, you would connect this end to the output like that. You would turn your output on, and you can now charge a device off of the MVP. And to demonstrate its charging capabilities, I have my phone here. It's a completely dead Samsung Galaxy S4. You can see I switched the MVP output on, and it does start to charge the device. How much is it able to charge the device? Good question. I let it go until the MVP was completely dead, and I got nearly a full charge out of it. So a pretty good capability there. So it's a really cool feature and a cool capability. However, I'll go ahead and reiterate what I said in the first video. If you're out and about, you may very well have this with you, and you may very well have this with you. Chances are you may not have that with you, okay? So I think it would still make a good feature, a brilliant feature, if they could figure out maybe slide out connections on here, or maybe some way to incorporate the charge cable into the device itself with a pull-out or something. I don't know how they can do it. I'm just thinking that it would be a great feature to have that capability built into this. Now, speaking of built into this, much like the iTaste MVP version 1 and 1.5, this is going to have a 2600 milliamp hour polymer lithium-ion battery built into it, okay? So they are squarish batteries in here. They are not user replaceable. How long they will last, I don't know. My 1.5 is still going strong. Vape time on this, of course, your mileage is going to vary. I've gotten anywhere from 2 full days off of this battery to a day and a half. It's actually more like a day and a half to 2 full days. So if this doesn't last you a full day of vaping, I'd be very, very surprised. And of course, that is with around a 2 ohm load against this, okay? So really good battery life as well. And you can vape this while you're charging it, okay? So it's not a real pass-through. You're not vaping off of the power that's coming from your USB supply. It's still coming off of the battery, but you can vape it while it is charging. Now, I've also noticed you can also vape this while it's charging something else, okay? I'm not really sure why they have that on-off button there. I mean, it does turn the power on and off to the output, but it doesn't affect the 510 connection and the power to the 510 connection at all. So, I mean, you can do it. I'm not sure if I would task my battery that much. I'm not sure if I would recommend it, but it is doable with the device. All right, so before we get to the one thing that's really bugging me about this, let's take a look at the output signal and some numbers, okay? So here is the output signal. Here is the output signal. Nice flat line here, okay? So we do not see pulse width modulation on the output. This is it firing a 2 ohm at 4 volts, okay? So let's take a look at the voltage readings. So the green is the actual setting on the device, and the blue is the reading. I did run on my test box, a 1 ohm load, 1.5, 2, and 3 ohm. Okay, you can see it really never fires that 1 ohm anywhere beyond around 3.3 volts. So if you're looking for a device that's going to handle your lower resistance coils, this is probably not the one. However, if you are in the 2 and 3 ohm range, I think you're going to be relatively happy. The readings look pretty good. We do see a limitation on the 1.5 here, and it never fires that 1.5 any higher than 3.9 volts, okay? We start to see a little bit of a limitation here with the 2 ohm here, and it's carried on over here a little bit, never firing that 2 ohm any higher than around 4.7 volts, okay? So for most vapors, I think this is going to be fine. You know, if you're using Cleros and cartomizers and your resistance range is anywhere from, say, 1.5 up to 3 ohms, you should be just fine. If you want to compare this, by the way, to the original MVP, the original MVP shown up here in red, they're pretty much mirror images of each other. The new MVP seems to fire maybe like 0.1 volt higher than the original one, but they're pretty much identical. Now, when we get into the wattage settings here, things are a little bit flaky, okay? Here's the 7-watt setting, and it's against the 1 ohm, the 1.5, the 2, and the 3. The green is the calculated voltage that it should be firing at, and the blue is the actual reading. Okay, you can see here at 1 ohm, it's just it doesn't even seem to be regulating. It's just firing it at 3.3 volts. The 1.5 seems to be higher again, firing it at 3.4 where it should be 3. Then things start to look a little bit better here at the 2 ohm, firing it just a point off, and at the 3 ohm firing a little bit high too. And again, keep in mind, if my resistance readings aren't dead on, you know, just a 0.0 ohm off could really change the look of this chart. Not here and not here, but possibly here and here as well. And I do have a new meter on order to hopefully get a more accurate reading of these resistances for you. Now, if we go into the 8.5 watt setting, okay, things are looking a little bit better here. Still putting out too much voltage at that 1 ohm. I'm not even sure it's doing anything with the 1 ohm other than just putting out 3.3 volts. At the 1.5, we're about 0.2 volts off. Finally, we're looking good here at the 2 ohm and again here at the 3 ohm. And then when we crank it all the way up to its 11 watt setting, oh, look at that. It works with the 1 ohm. I think that's more like by accident than by design. The 1.5, we start to see a limitation here. Okay, so that's similar to the limitation we saw in its voltage setting. The 2 ohm is dead on, and then the 3 ohm, we see a bigger limitation here because it's not going to fire any higher than its 5 volt setting. So you can see here it should be firing at a 5.7 volts, but it actually only fires at 4.9 volts, okay? And that's just a limitation of the device. So you can see by the numbers there, in voltage mode, it's pretty much mirroring what the other iTaste MVP did. In variable wattage mode, it's a little flaky, okay? The accuracy of those numbers leaves a little something to be desired. The one resistance value that it seems to work best with across the board is 2 ohm, okay? So take those numbers for what they are. You are getting protection with this device, so you're going to have undervolt protection. It's not going to fire if your battery gets too low, and there is you don't have to worry about reverse battery protection. The battery's already built in there. You are going to have short circuit protection, and I did short it out using the lazy box. It does what the other Inokין products do. It lights up that fire button for a little while, then it shuts down. And if you go take a look at the resistance, you'll see 0, meaning it's a short. And finally, it does have a 10-second cutoff. So now we got to talk about the button and why I was doing my thumb exercises at the beginning of this video. Although the button is greatly improved over the last one, in my opinion, because it's raised somewhat and you could find it a lot easier, the press on this one is really, really firm. Uncomfortably firm. Firm to the point where I was you know, there have been times where I'm vaping it and the button just pushes itself back out because I don't have the proper tension on the button, the proper pressure on the button. You know, it's kind of uncomfortable with the tip of the thumb. It's a little bit more comfortable with the side of the thumb. You know, weaker people are going to have issues with this, possibly the elderly, possibly some of you ladies, and I know some of you ladies are just as strong, if not stronger than I am, like my wife, but some of you are going to have problems with this. And to demonstrate that, let me introduce you to a new piece of test gear that I've got. So what I have here is my my brandy new force meter. It's actually not new, it's quite old. I'm not sure of the accuracy of this device, but it's really the differences in the button presses that I'm after, okay? So with this device, it works a lot like the fish scale that I used to test the cargo tank, so we can actually pull this side and get a reading, okay, and then we can zero that reading out. But the difference here is I can also push on this side and get a reading, okay? So that's actually what I'm after with this device. So let's go ahead and I'll zero this out, and let's check out a couple of different devices. Okay, we'll start off with the ProVary, and we'll put this on the button and see what it measures to push it in. Okay, it pushed in, and it's right a little bit less than a pound of pressure. Okay, so let's zero this out again. Let's move to the iTaste 134. So let's try this device, and we're going to push. Okay, and there it fired. That too is a little bit under a pound of pressure. Let's go ahead and try the Opus D, and I actually don't like this button because I think the press is firm, but as it turns out, it's really not. Let's go ahead and try this one out. Okay, there we go. It's actually a little bit more than a pound, okay? I just think the way this button is the center is kind of recessed in there. That's what I don't like about this button, okay? So anyway, that's a little bit more than a pound, so it is a little bit more of a firm press. But now, let's go to the new iTaste MVP, okay? And we're going to try this same test. Let's make sure it's zeroed out, and let's see what we get on this meter as we try to push this button in here. We're going to push. Okay, there we go, it pressed. A little over 2 pounds. Nearly 3 pounds of pressure to push that in. Let's go ahead and reset that again and try that again. Let's see if we get close to the same reading. Okay, there we go. And yeah, over 2 pounds. So over 2 pounds of pressure to push that fire button in. So yeah, with this device, almost double the amount of pressure to get this to fire compared to some of the other devices I'm familiar with. For some of you, that's not going to be a very big deal. For some of you, that could potentially make this device unusable for you. It could make for a very, very uncomfortable vaping experience. All right, and I wanted you guys to know that. That's why I did that. I would strongly recommend to Inokין to decrease the amount of pressure that that is required to fire this device. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me to use. Okay, so now you know. All right, so let's do some thumbs up, thumbs down on the new iTaste MVP version 2. We will start with thumbs up. It has the packaging and the build quality that we've kind of come to know from Inokìn, okay? It is rock solid. It is it feels fantastic. I have no complaints with the build quality on this whatsoever. The transition ring doesn't hang off the side anymore. You do have a resistance checker. You can read the resistance of your attached device. You do have variable wattage mode now. So all of the things that I loved about the MVP, I love about this one as well. You've got incredible battery life. You have the ability to charge other devices off of it. All good things. All right, so now let's talk about thumbs down with this device. Thumbs down. In its voltage mode, it pretty much mirrors what the original MVP did, okay? So if you're a variable voltage vapor, it should work just fine for you depending on what you're using on it, right? In its variable wattage setting, like I said, the numbers leave a little something to be desired. They're a little bit all over the place. They're not really hitting their marks for all of the resistance levels that I tried. It's almost like I kind of feel like they've jammed variable wattage in here to advertise it as a variable wattage device. However, we've seen variable wattage implemented much better in other devices. Okay, so I'll just say it that way. And then the button. It's just personally, I wouldn't use this device simply because of the button, because it just makes for an uncomfortable vape experience for me. For you, you might have like a really strong thumb, okay, and it works just fine. For me, it was uncomfortable to use. So I really think they need to loosen up this button a little bit. And that's it. That's it. You know, I wanted to love this device, and I expected to love this device, and I don't love this device, and I think it has a lot to do with the button. I really do. So that's what I got to say about that. It works, okay? It works. It produces a great vape. It's got great battery life. Okay, so I'm not going to give it a thumbs down, but this one is not going to get a thumbs up for me either. Maybe if that button was a little bit softer and more comfortable to press, maybe if the implementation of variable wattage was a little bit better, maybe if the numbers were a little bit better, it would get a thumbs up. But for me, this one is a no thumbs. Sorry, gang. I hate to do that, but just how I feel about the device. There you go. So now that I said all that about the device, let's give one away. All right, come on, it's still a nice device to have. Okay, so Inokìn was nice enough to send me, actually Inokìn and Fairy Gifts were nice enough to send me a few extras to give away to you. That's what I'm going to do right now. So here's the contest. In the original iTaste MVP review, I said that I would do something if they added a resistance checker to the device. They added a resistance checker, but some of those wattage numbers, the firmness of the press prevented me from doing that. What was it that I was going to do? You have to put that in the subject line of an email, just like we do it all the time. Put that in the subject line of an email. Address that email to contest@tasteyourjuice.com. And in 1 week, which would be Tuesday the 17th, we will close this contest down Tuesday the 17th at midnight, which would be like Wednesday morning. So Tuesday at 11:59 Eastern time. We'll close the contest down and we will randomly select a winner for the new Inokine iTaste MVP. So there you go, the Inokine MVP version 2.0. Loosen up that button a little bit, guys. Okay, I hope you found some of that information helpful. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Can I taste your juice?